Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As I was about to title today's video, here to rank all the finishing badges in NBA 2K23 in tiers for Season 5. Now I will say, before we get into this video, there's not a whole lot of movement in this season. I actually only have 4 badges out of these 16 right here, even moving a spot. 12 of them are going to be remaining in the exact same spot that you see them in today's video, so it'll be a little bit of a shorter one. And honestly, we're in Season 5, so I don't really expect that we have to go over what the badge does. Like for instance, Bully, Masher, Backdown, Punisher, Dream Shake. They're all... I think everybody knows what they do now, essentially is what I'm getting at. So we're not going to go over all the details of what the badge does anymore. We're just going to get straight into it and rank them and see what you guys think. So I hope you enjoy. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, so I'm noties, all good stuff. And like always, try this one to 2,000 likes. Alright, so to start us off, as for all of the C tier and below badges from last season, we have 2 moving. Bully moving up from the E tier to the C tier, and then Masher moving up from the C tier to the B tier. So I need to give Bully its right respect, because let's put it like this. I actually, in yesterday's video with the shooting badges, mentioned a badge that I said in Deadeye that it deserved more respect than people gave it, because if you made Deadeye a tier 1, like let's say for instance Volume Shooter and the Clutch Shooter were, everybody would absolutely run Deadeye. But because it's a tier 3 and there are also other good tier 3 badges, like let's say for instance Limitless, Agent, and Blinders, all 3 of those are tier 3s that you want to run way more than Deadeye. So not only is Deadeye more expensive, but also you can't even afford to run it because you have to spend at least 10 badge points between tier 1 and tier 2, stuff like that, so you don't really find a lot of people using Deadeye. Now, my example for that with this video is, I have been hating on Bully a lot because it's a tier 3 badge for finishing, no matter what build you make. Pretty much every single one is always tier 3 Bully, and you have to do OD unrealistic things when it comes to your strength to be able to achieve this badge at a high level. Like for instance having, like, what is it, 94 plus strength to have Hall of Fame Bully or something like that, and I think high 80s for silver, etc, etc. Long story short, my opinions on this badge are that I don't like to run it, and I've never ran it, and I don't run into people who do run the badge for that matter either, but I do need to pay its respect a little bit more. It deserves to be in the same conversation as at least things like Dream Shake, Backdown, Punisher, Aerial Wizard, Pro Touch, and Dropstepper, because to put it way down here on its own with nothing else surrounding it, the fact that if this was a tier 1 badge, I would probably still run it on bronze or silver, no matter what builds I make, because that's what it's achievable for, and I'd probably run it no matter what. So that's my take on Bully. It's still a very overrated badge in the sense of, like I said, a lot of people do pay a lot of respect to it, but it is a tier 3, so it's very hard to run. But that's not what these videos are about. The videos are more so about the power of the badge itself, not really the viability or the convenience of being able to run the badge at a tier 1. I don't care about the badge tiering between tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I'm here to talk about how good is the badge, period. So, in my opinion, it's right on par with these bottom tier badges with the C tiers. It could debatably maybe move up to the B, but I still think what you're going to see in B is significantly better than Bully, even still, with all things considered of just the badge's power. Anyway, we'll move into the B tier and talk about Masher first, because I haven't got to that yet, and it was one of the ones that moved from C to B, but I also wanted to showcase the other B tier badges in list. So we have Fast Twitch, Acrobat, Post Spin Technician, and Rise Up. Rise Up moving down from the A to the B, and Masher, like we said, moving up from the C to the B. So to start with Masher, this is a badge that's actually really good for the tall builds. Obviously we already know that, so 7'3s, 7'2s, etc. If you are around 6'9 to 6'10ish or something like that, the badge can still work. Absolutely, you just have to get the right matchups. Obviously you have to kind of hunt the point guard matchups. For me, that has to do with maybe even being my 6'9", 5-out build and hunting shooting guard matchups as they're typically on the wing, or for that matter too, I do send point guard cuts down, aka whichever person in the corner has a 6'1" point guard on them, I send them down on a cut, and then I don't care about the lack of spacing in the paint because they are just small. So Masher will still even play factor to that too. Not to mention, one factor to Masher that benefits me, and obviously not a lot of people play like this either, but for me who spams the dunk meter very consistently, obviously when I get kicked out of dunks, things like Fearless Finisher activate, or Giant Slayer if it's a super tall player. That's the problem though with being 6'9". Obviously Giant Slayer doesn't activate very often, but nonetheless, my whole point is when I have Masher on, it actually is going to activate if a small player kicks me out of a dunk some miraculous way. So when Masher, Fearless both combine, it goes really crazy. Same goes for you if you're a small guard and you run Giant Slayer and Fearless Finisher as a combo. My whole point here is that comboing these 2 badges between Fearless and either the one that helps you make shots on smaller players or the one that helps you make shots on taller players, both of them are convenient to pair with Fearless Finisher. So that's my take on Masher. Not to mention, like I just said, it's good for like the paint mashing 7'2", 7'3s. It's good for hook shots as well against smaller players. So Masher in general, pretty good badge overall. Alright, and then next up we have Rise Up. This is the badge that was moving down from the A tier to the B tier. It's our third moving badge in today's video. As you guys can kind of catch the trend, I'm talking about the moving badges first, and then we'll talk about the other badges in a little bit of a recap at the end of the video. But anyway, with Rise Up, this badge was initially in the A tier and Masher was in the C tier for the reason of, obviously, the paint contested close shots were significantly patched. I'm talking like crazy patched in that Season 3 into Season 4. So I made this video early in Season 4 when I had initial tests based on, like, you know, the activation of the standing dunk still versus obviously being able to mash people down low. And 6'9s were defending like crazy down low against people that had like 7'2", 7'3s of Masher on Hall of Fame or gold at least and stuff like that. And it was useless to run this badge. So that's why the majority of the reason of this being a C tier badge is now moving back into the B, because they reverted the patch in a tad bit of a way. Obviously, it still is pretty easy to contest close shots. I will really stand by that a good bit, to be honest with you, but even still, Masher is still a pretty good badge, and Rise Up isn't quite as useful as I initially gave it credit for. My argument for Rise Up, like, significantly was the fact that you would have to get standing dunks to be able to mash in today's game. And to be fair, it's no longer like that. It is what it is. Masher, Rise Up, they're both pretty equal value, whether you are making contested standing lays or getting pulled into standing contact dunks. And I will say too, after me testing this with a new build that has 90 standing dunk and has the elite big man contact dunks, all that stuff, and having the gold Rise Up, it's still not really automatic like that to get standing contact dunks. And if you don't have some close shot, you better believe you are going to miss a lot of those takes if you don't get put into a dunk. But that's the thing, you can still be pretty selective with it, and if you just live by the standing dunk, you can still get away with it, if we're being real. Anyway, lastly, for our final moving badge, we have Posterizer moving up from the A tier to the S tier. So I had this in the S tier early in the year, and I come to really think that Limitless and Slithery are significantly the two best badges in the game when it comes to finishing, and that Poster was more of an A tier badge. But to be honest with you, it's still S tier, it's just not as good as these two. So take this with a grain of salt. Let's just draw a figurative line right here where Poster is a little bit worse than these two badges right here. Like, if I had to pick two, personally, I would pick Slithery and Limitless Takeoff if I was, let's say, like a 6'8 that had only two tier 3s to pick from, because obviously all three of these right here would be tier 3. I would pick Slithery and Limitless Takeoff. Personally, I think Posterizer is a really important badge though in that aspect, and especially for someone that plays like my style. Obviously, when it comes to getting contact dunks, it's still extremely important, but to even get into those contact dunk animations, sometimes you need Slithery as well. But that's just my opinion. I know some people would maybe differ. Posterizer, in my opinion, though, is still going to be an S tier in retrospect. It's not going to be on the same tier as Giant Slayer or Fearless Finisher. While I may think these are extremely annoying badges to deal with, and the fact that there are 6'1 small guards out there that run like gold or Hall of Fame Giant Slayer with like silver Fearless Finisher, and they get kicked out of a dunk, they get fouled, or even if they don't get fouled, they make a 20% contested smother layup or something like that that should not have gone in, but having Giant Slayer and Fearless made that a 20% instead of like a 45 or a 50 or probably even like a 60 for that matter. It's just crazy how good Giant Slayer is on small players. So as we have already talked about things like Poster and Rise Up and Masher and Bully with the 4 badges that are moving in today's video, let's go back and talk about a couple important ones. So these two right here we just kind of recapped on, Fearless and Giant Slayer, being more so for like the small guards, but also the fact that Fearless can still help you in many different ways. I would argue that Fearless Finisher is the better of the two, just off the fact that if I was picking for the entire community which badge is better and I had to run a survey on it, I would assume more people would come back with Fearless saying it's better than Giant Slayer, because obviously Giant Slayer is very specific to a very small amount of people in the game. Literally, for that matter. So you have to be 6'1 or like 6'4, 6'5 and under to really feel this badge's power. If you're 6'9, you're only ever going to run into like 7'3s and 7'2s that this actually works against. And it's obviously not as good in the grand scheme of things if you talk about it like that, but obviously for the specialty and the people that this badge actually pertains to, it's elite 100%. But Fearless Finisher is still very good, and it's a widespread amount of good amongst the whole community. So Fearless just works for any build, and obviously it works in many different ways. It can work on close shots, standing close shots and stuff like that, obviously with the paint mashing. It can work on driving dunks that work where you just get kicked out of the dunk and it turns into a layup. That's one thing Fearless is extremely good for me, and it's probably the best thing it's good for me. And then also just in general layups, period. So Fearless is really good. I think it's definitely like the top A tier badge possible. It's right underneath these 4 or these 3 right here with the Poster, Slithery, and Limitless Takeoff, and then right above Giant Slayer in my opinion. But then we have Fast Twitch, Acrobat, Postman Technician, some very solid B tier badges, 100%. Fast twitch, just giving you faster standing dunks, faster like close shots, this, that, and the other. It's not crazy, but it's definitely good for the sake of paint mashing. It's going to be hard to do paint mashing against like actual bigs that have good block or good interior defense with no fast twitch. I've done it a lot this year though. I have ran with no fast twitch on my builds with like 65 close shot as a pick and roller. But to be fair, I'm a 6'9" with like 82, 83 speed and have slasher takeover, so I'm even faster with a really good driving dunk and pretty good standing dunk too. So I don't need fast twitch quite as much to paint mash because I don't really do contested close shots very often. I just am fast and I get to the paint with really good speed and really good driving dunks. So I just get there in an easy way to do like quick drops or just, you know, regular driving dunks like the straight arm tomahawks and whatever the case may be. Anyway, moving along though, acrobat, really good for change-up layups. Obviously, it's been a little bit touched, I'm not gonna lie. Earlier in the year, I was really saying this badge was broken, like super broken. And it's more so the mechanic. Doing those change-up layups really like completely resist contests, like at a ridiculous rate. And it's even still does that, but not at a broken rate anymore. So acrobat is still very good. It still B tier to me. And also it helps on gathers as far as getting you open and like kind of shrugging off the defender. Slithery also does that as well, but acrobat still plays a little bit of a part in it. You can look in the badge description. You can look when like you do a hop dunk or a hop lay or euros, spins, whatever the case may be. Acrobat will help for those 100%. Post spin technician, also still a good badge. It's really hard to defend post scores that have this at a high level because then they can still open up their post fades and post hooks, post hops, whatever the case may be. Because if you play them tightly, you can just get broken on the post spin. So then if you're worried about getting broken on the post spin or the drop step that we'll talk about in a second as well, then that means you're giving up a lot of free roaming area for the sake of doing hooks, fades, whatever the case may be. We've talked about that a lot in this year's game though, how these two badges kind of open you up as far as like getting your outside post game open because people have to respect your inside post game because of them. But anyway, Aerial Wizard, really good for getting contact lobs. I've never really done the putback factor of this badge. I don't really care for it either, to be honest. I just like the alley-oop meter being bigger off of just running it in general. So that's what I do prefer with Aerial Wizard. But I do see plenty of people still do putback dunks every now and then. I think it's more of a corner thing though. I don't really recommend this as like a actual big man and like being a pretty heavy rebound crasher. You need to get in better position, bro. Like you should be very focused on position, getting around your guy, warming people, and not like trying to run and jump straight over his head and dunk on the dude that's boxing you out clearly. It's probably how you get a lot of over the back fouls too. And not to mention, your guy looks really stupid when you go for a putback dunk and then the rebound just happens to like go really close to you, but you weren't getting high enough to trigger the actual like putback dunk. So then you just sit there and look so dumb flying up in the air. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about if you do the putback dunks consistently. But anyway, again, I think Aerial Wizard is still a very good badge. People sleep on this as far as what it does for your alley-oop. And again, I do still see people do the putback dunks as well. And it obviously allows you the ability to do so. So that is the thing. But they're pretty rare for that matter as well. But I've seen Tonic do it. I've seen my boy Salt do it in the rec center, stuff like that. The list goes about that deep. Maybe even still IQ every now and then, but that's about it. So then we have Backdown, Punisher, Dream Shake, Pro Touch, and Drop Stepper. All four things pertaining to mostly post-game, to be real with you. Pro Touch is definitely not as much of a layup thing as I would like for it to be. I'd probably run layup timing if Hall of Fame Pro Touch actually worked. For that stuff, it's just not very good. It doesn't really enhance your ability to make the lays, in my opinion. And I even see it firsthand in the 2K Labs videos as well. Whereas it didn't really show statistical things as far as the hooking, but I've tried it with my 85 close shot build now, and Hall of Fame Pro Touch absolutely opens up that hook game a lot, and I think it's very valuable in that sense too. But to be fair, how many people do that? And the power of the badge in general, I would still value things like post spin, rise up, fast twitch, acrobat, and masher over Pro Touch for the wide majority of builds, in my opinion. But again, it's kind of hard to put a stamp on things like that because post spin technician is still very like specific to the playstyle. Whereas things like Fearless Finisher, Poster, Slithery, Limitless, Takeoff, they don't have to be specific to your build's playstyle. It's just things that work for builds, period. It doesn't matter what it is. So again, a lot of these things are kind of hard to justify sometimes, but either way, Pro Touch, again, really good for the hooks, and I do recommend this badge at a high level if you're going to be doing the post hooks, but that's the key. You have to be doing them. And then things like Backdown, Punisher, Dream Shake, Drop Stepper, I don't really care for these badges too much. I think Drop Stepper is probably the one that's the most valid between the three of them. Backdown Punisher is really just like I don't know, man. I feel like you might as well just have good strength if you're going to be trying to back people down, and that's really what carries, in my opinion. I don't think backdown Punisher is something where if you just miraculously had the badge on Hall of Fame but had 25 strength, going at the dude that has like 99 strength and no post move lockdown or no brick wall, you're just not going to move him like that. It's as simple as that. Like, it just doesn't work. So I don't know. Me personally, if I was even running something like a Shaq build, I would still not even run backdown Punisher unless it's like maybe something that just fits in as some accessory badges. But personally, I would definitely value things like dropstepper, pro touch, stuff like that, rise up, fast twitch, post spin technician, masher, fearless finisher, poster, slithery, takeoff, all that stuff I would much rather value than backdown Punisher. So that's why we got it down here in the C. And then things like dream shake, this actually works if you fake the hooks and the fades and the shimmies and stuff like that. So you can do like a little flick to the side on your stick and it'll do the dream shake, quote unquote. But you can even still do it on shimmy fades as well. And it is a pretty good boost. I see Tonic do it every now and then, but again, very niche, very like specific play style, and it gives away the fact that you're maybe going to try and do something that has to do with outside post game. Now, to counteract that point, if you do it and you anticipate the defense is going to know you're trying to set up an outside post move, you could do the dream shake and then do a post spin instead. And I guess then, boom, you got me looking like an idiot because I would definitely anticipate that you're going to be doing a post hook or a post fade. So I don't know, it's hard to say, but me personally, Dream Shake is still going to be C tier. And then same with Drop Stepper. It's still going to be pretty good as far as getting you space and separation on the drop steps and actually like stunning people, kicking them out the way, kind of just, you know, putting that leg straight over there, but putting that leg straight over theirs and just kicking them out the way with your elbow and stuff like that. But to me, I just can't justify putting it up here in the B tier with these badges. I still think post spin is way better than drop stepper if you're going to be doing post scoring related things, because it just gets you wide open takes to the hoop rather than maybe contested ones. Like with drop stepper, the other thing too, if I was gonna like argue for post spin technician over drop stepper, when you do drop steps, you are picking the ball up. You have no choice in like really like choosing not to like commit to scoring. Essentially, when you do a drop step, you have picked the ball up and now you have to score. Simple as that. There's nothing to do except for pump fake, maybe pass the ball if you're playing rec center, obviously. But sometimes you can't even got the paint that quickly then, because now you're committed to it and now your 3-second is pending and now you got all types of problems brewing and now you got to throw scary panic passes. The defense is ready to collapse and, you know, play lanes, this, that, and the other. With post spin technician, you keep your dribble alive and you don't really run the risk that you do with drop stepper, if you ask me. And it can get you, once again, like I said, wide open takes to the hoop rather than probably contested ones with drop stepper. But I still think drop stepper is the best C tier badge that I have in this category right here. It's not as good as the B tiers though, if you ask me. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, for drop a like, sub if you're new to all the noties, all good stuff, and like always, try to win to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put finish or put dunk in the comments, short support me all the way through. And again, you can feel free to leave any feedback in today's video if you would like. If you have any disagreements and opinions opposed to mine, obviously I'm open to feedback. So anyway, that's all for the video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.